Podcasts on unctv.org are made possible through the financial contributions of viewers like you, who invite you to join them in supporting UNCTV.
This year marks the 150th anniversary of the American Civil War. Among the many Civil War sites in North Carolina, the area around Kinston was the site for two major engagements. Producer Derek Long traveled to Kinston to find out more about Kinston's Civil War connections.
There are several Civil War-related sites in Kinston, and a good place to start is at the Kinston and Lenore County Visitor Center, where many of the artifacts on display help tell the story of Kinston's Civil War history.
Lenore County is very fortunate or unfortunate, depending on your point of view or where you were in history, as we had two Civil War battles here. The first Battle of Kinston was early in the war. In the fall of 1862, General Foster was instructed to get from Newbern to the other side of Goldsboro, North Carolina, to destroy the Wilmington-Weldon Railroad Bridge, which was the main supply line for Robert E. Lee in Virginia. But to get from Newbern to Goldsboro, they had to get past the Confederates that were in Kinston, North Carolina. The documents for the 1862 battle vary on exactly how many soldiers fought in Kinston, but the general consensus, it was somewhere between 12,000 and 18,000 Union soldiers and about 2,000 Confederate soldiers. So it was a little bit one-sided.
Here you can get driving guides to the battlefields.
There are numbered signs that are all along the stops for both driving tours, and they will walk you through the battles, both of the battles, actually where the troops were, with a very short description of what happened in each place. But it makes it very, very easy to follow the progress of the battle and what was happening there. Part of our history in the Civil War was, of course, we were on the Neuse River, which was a shipping lane at the time.
Which is where the Confederate ironclad, the CSS Neuse, comes into the story.
This ship, the CSS Neuse, and her sister ship, the CSS Albemarle, which was being built on the Roanoke River at the time, was part of that big scheme to recapture eastern North Carolina.
You can see the remains of the Neuse's hull at the CSS Neuse State Historic Site.
She was originally 158 feet long, 34 foot wide, and she could fire a 66-pound explosive projectile for 3 miles. So needless to say, she was one of the meanest, baddest ships on the Neuse River at the time. And in April of 1864, when she was ordered downriver, I wish I could say she went downriver and had a glorious career as a warship, but she wound up going a half-mile below Kinston and hitting a sandbar. And her bow was basically buried 40 foot into the sandbar, and she sat there until the middle of May of 1864.
Meanwhile, the campaign in North Carolina takes a back seat when General Hoke is ordered to Virginia to defend Richmond.
So she basically sits here at Kinston tied up to her dock.
Today near those docks, you can see the Neuse too.
This is a 158-foot replica, as good as we could make it anyway. We started in 2002, and now what you have here is a fully complete, except for the trimmings and some of the furnishings and that sort of thing, replica of an ironclad. The only Civil War replica of an ironclad in the world, full scale.
And just up the street, there's a museum where you can view some of the 12,000 artifacts from the ironclad.
And you can see such things as the ship's bell. We've got tools and implements that would have been on the ship. We even have a Worcestershire sauce bottle that came off the ship. That's one of my personal favorite artifacts. It was probably run through the blockade in Wilmington, and then when the artillerists transferred from the Army from Fort Fisher to the Navy here at the Neuse, they probably brought it along with them.
What about the Second Battle of Kinston?
December 64, the first Battle of Fort Fisher takes place.
Then in January of 1865, Fort Fisher falls, followed by Wilmington on February 22nd.
The troops and garrisons there at Wilmington basically come to Kinston. And it's here at Kinston that our ship actually bombards the Federal troops during the second largest land battle fought in North Carolina, which was the Battle of Wise Fork, fought on March the 8th, 9th, and 10th of 1865. The last act of our ship was to cover the evacuation of Kinston on March the 11th. The last captain of the ship, Captain Joseph Price, orders the ship sculled to keep her from falling into enemy hands.
In Kinston, this is Derek Long for North Carolina Weekend.
For more information on events commemorating the 150th anniversary of the Civil War, or for other things to see and do in Kinston, go online to visitkinston.com or call 1-800-869-0032.
Podcasts on unctv.org are made possible through the financial contributions of viewers like you, who invite you to join them in supporting UNC TV.